On the morning of December 12th, 1910, a 25-year-old heiress kissed her mother goodbye, stepped out of her family's Manhattan mansion, and walked south on Fifth Avenue. She bought chocolates, she browsed a bookstore, she ran into a friend and said she was going to take a walk through Central Park. And then she was gone. Dorothy Arnold, heir to one of New York's most powerful fortunes, vanished in the middle of the most crowded street in America, in broad daylight. And in over 115 years, no one has ever found her. Veiled Secrets, Episode 2.
To understand why Dorothy's disappearance shook New York to its core, you have to understand who she was. Dorothy Harriet Camille Arnold was born on July 1st, 1885, into one of Manhattan's most prestigious families. Her father, Francis Arnold, was a wealthy fine goods importer. Her uncle was a sitting judge on the United States Supreme Court. The family lived in a townhouse on East 79th Street on the Upper East Side, the most exclusive address in America. Dorothy graduated from Bryn Mawr College, one of the most elite women's colleges in the country. She was educated, confident, socially polished. But underneath the perfect socialite surface, Dorothy Arnold had a secret dream. She wanted to be a writer. She submitted stories to McClure's magazine, one of the most prestigious publications of the era. She begged her father to let her move to Greenwich Village to focus on her work. His response was cold. A good writer, Francis Arnold told his daughter, can write anywhere. He refused. Just weeks before she vanished, McClure's magazine rejected her short story, a piece called The Poinsettia Flames. Friends said she was, and I quote, dejected and embarrassed. When investigators later searched Dorothy's bedroom, they found burned papers in her fireplace, presumed to be the rejected manuscripts she could not bear to look at anymore. Dorothy Arnold never published a single word.
Monday, December 12th, 1910. At 11 in the morning, Dorothy told her mother she was going shopping. She slipped $30 into her purse, roughly $1,000 in today's money. She put on a blue tailor-made suit, a black velvet hat, lapis lazuli earrings, and a matching hat pin, and she walked out into Fifth Avenue alone. She stopped at Park and Tilford on 59th Street and charged a half-pound of chocolates to her father's account. She walked 32 blocks south to Brentano's bookstore and purchased a humor book called An Engaged Girl's Sketches. And then, sometime before 2 in the afternoon, she ran into a friend named Gladys King outside the bookstore. The two women spoke briefly. Dorothy told Gladys she planned to walk home through Central Park. Gladys watched her walk away. That was the last confirmed sighting of Dorothy Arnold. She never arrived at the dress shop. She never walked through Central Park. She never came home for dinner. She was simply gone. When Dorothy failed to appear for dinner that evening, her family did not call the police. They called their friends. The next morning, they hired the Pinkerton Detective Agency, one of the most powerful private detective firms in America. They searched hospitals, morgues, and jails across New York, Boston, and Philadelphia. They investigated ocean liners leaving for Europe. They questioned Dorothy's friends and former classmates. But they still did not tell the police. Why? Because the Arnolds were terrified of scandal. Dorothy had been secretly dating a man her family despised, a 42-year-old engineer from Philadelphia named George Griscom Jr. In September 1910, just 3 months before she vanished, Dorothy had pawned her own jewelry to fund a secret week-long trip to Boston with Griscom. She told her family she was visiting a college friend in Cambridge. The intimate letters she sent Griscom were later found by her brother. They were burned immediately to protect the family's reputation. The Arnolds didn't report Dorothy missing to the New York City Police Department until January 1911, 6 weeks after she disappeared. When the press found out, New York City erupted. The New York Times called it, and I quote, one of New York's greatest mysteries. And the public had one burning question. What was the Arnold family hiding?